everybody, Masha here. Всем привет! Today I have an easy lesson for you, but a very informative one. Today I'm going to teach you, well not teach you, but I'm going to tell you how I have studied the Russian language and what I do today to maintain it. And I'm going to mainly speak in English, that's the easy part, but I will also be teaching you a few Russian phrases in relation to things that you could do to learn the Russian language. So, давайте начнем. Let's get started. The first thing that I do, I'll read it to you. Я выучила русский язык с репетитором. Я выучила русский язык с репетитором. I have studied the Russian language with a tutor. Репетитор, tutor. С репетитором, with a tutor. Я выучила русский язык с репетитором. There are many different resources online to find tutors to study with. I personally like to do it face-to-face. So a few years ago, I found a school in Minnesota where I live where I could study with a tutor in a actual classroom type of setting. And the school that I went to, it's called Bukvar. It's located in Minnesota. It is a great Russian school. You can learn the Russian language from the very first letter of the language to much more advanced. And you get partnered with a tutor that fits to your needs really well. And they do it face-to-face there at Bukvar, but they can also do remote lessons as well. So I really highly recommend this particular school, and of course I'm a little biased, so I recommend Olga as the tutor. She is really wonderful. I spent a year there and I just can't say enough good things about it. So, я выучила русский язык с репетитором. Another thing that I have done, я изучала русский язык в университете. Я изучала русский язык в университете. I have studied the Russian language at a university. At a university. Я училась в университете. I learned at a university. This university was actually in Russia. I went and lived in Russia for a couple of months, a few summers back, and I stayed in a city called Petrozavodsk. It's where my orphanage was when I lived in Russia as a kid. And they have a university there with an international program to teach Russian to international students. And of course, I highly recommend this program. I will put the link to it down below, and also for the Bukvar school as well. But when you go there, you take a self-assessment type of test, like how well you do with reading, writing, listening, comprehension, all of the above. And then you get a tutor assigned to you that could tailor to your specific needs, as well as different classroom settings if it's like one-on-one or with a group, and also the kind of textbooks that you'll be learning as well. When I was there, I learned one-on-one classes, and then I also did group settings. So Привет, Hero. Hero was my partner, my study partner from China. And then I also learned with Lucas. He is from Austria. So like I said, international students. It was really cool. I will post the link for you guys below on that. Okay, the third thing I have done, я использовала учебники. I have used textbooks. No, textbooks are really good for grammar purposes, reading, writing. They are good when you are learning the Russian language. I'm going to just show you a couple that I have personally used. This is the New Penguin. This is a pretty typical Russian textbooks, course books, however you want to call it. So it's the New Penguin Russian course, a complete course for beginners. I don't think I've gone through this entire book myself, but it is what it says it is. It teaches you everything from the letters to vocabulary, how to put sentences together, all of the cases, everything. So this is a good book. And then I will show you the 2 other books that I love in regards to textbooks. This book, Teach Yourself. It is Get Started in Russian, absolute beginner course. Read, write, speak, understand. Discover a new culture. Learn to learn Russian. That's really important because we can spend hours, days, weeks, months, years trying to learn a language and not comprehend anything because we're not learning the right way. So this part is super, super awesome. This little course book, it has a book. Not too bad. But why I really, really love it is because it also has audio that goes with it. So you could read and you can listen. It's like best of both worlds. So there is this book, Get Started in Russian. I think you can find it on Amazon, but you can look on other online places as well. And then when you're done with this absolute beginner course, you can move on to this Complete Russian. You can see I still have sticky notes in here. This is beginner to intermediate course. Again, it's similar. Read, write, speak, understand, connect with Russian culture, use over 2,000 words confidently, 2,000 words, and again, learn to learn Russian. And this book, I think that you can download an app on your phone and also have audio with it. So I highly recommend these 2 textbooks when you're learning the Russian language, just because, I mean, they worked for me, so why not? Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see. Я жила в России. Okay, this is probably the most effective way that you can learn a language. I lived in Russia, among Russian-speaking people. So if you want a crash course on learning a language, go to that country and surround yourself with people who speak the language that you're trying to learn, because obviously it forces you to learn it quick because you can't get around without knowing it. When I lived there, I stayed with a Russian family that just spoke Russian. So as soon as I got there, I got off the train, went to my apartment, and, well, I need to take a shower. Okay, I need to learn how to say the word shower, douche. Douche is shower. Then they're handing me a towel, politensa, okay, towel. I'll need to know this word when I'm taking a shower to ask for a towel, you know. Еда, food, ужин, dinner. Immediately, где туалет, where's the bathroom? Very, very fast-paced and good way to force yourself to learn the language is living in that country. Another thing that I have done, я читаю по-русски. I read in Russian. Я читаю по-русски. For this, I mean, you can do it any way that you would like. I am part of a lot of different Russian-speaking Facebook groups or other social media platforms. That's a really good way to just scroll through and read about everyday things or things that you're interested in or that relate to your life. But I also read some books too. I just found this book. I forgot I've had it. I think I ordered it a few years ago and forgot about it. But it's Russian stories with has Russian and English, so it has good translation. 12 short stories, dual language, and it's like Russian рассказы, so like I don't know, short stories or maybe even fairy tales or something. So it's English and Russian. So I'm gonna start reading this book actually, but I want to tell you guys about these 2 other books that I absolutely love when reading Russian. The first one is this. It is First Russian Reader for Beginners, bilingual for speakers of English. It is parallel translation, the alarm method. So parallel translation means that it has Russian and then English translation. Alarm method is like a way of learning a language. I'll let you guys look that one up. And then it has an audio tracks included, and it's simple and fun, and I 100% agree with all of that. So this one is it's like the beginner book, and this is how it is structured. I'll just show you really quick. It has the alphabet at the very beginning, of course that's helpful, and it's like an elementary level reading. So, for example, у Диларда есть собака. Okay, Dillard has a dog. This is the title of the very first chapter. It starts with slova, words, so it has vocabulary words. The first chapter has 65 vocabulary words with the English translation, and then you read, show you, then you read a little, here you can see kind of, you read the chapter using those new vocabulary words, and then at the end of each chapter it has different pronunciation practice, and then at the very end of the book it has every single vocabulary word that you learned in this book. But I love these books because it's, I don't know, it has like maybe 30 or something different stories, but they're all in relation to each other, so it's like one big story, one book. And it has Russian and English translation. It has the vocabulary words, and it has podcasts. That's what I love the most, podcasts. So you can, this is how I like to do it. I read all of the vocabulary words, I try to memorize them, I read the story, and then I'll go on a walk the next morning for an hour and I'll listen to the podcast of what I learned like the day before. And it's not in English, the podcast isn't in English, so you really need to apply yourself. And then I see the words that sound familiar, the words that I have already memorized, pick up on ones that I still need to learn better, and then I listen to the story and I repeat out loud, and it really, really, really helps with your speech. So I love this book. It's First Russian Reader for beginners. But that's not it. This is only the first book. Then there is the second Russian Reader, and this is similar. New vocabulary review, topic dictionaries, and audio tracks inclusive. This is more intermediate level. You can see it's much thicker. Some of the chapters has like 100, yikes, like 100 new vocabulary words. Then it has the story that you read using those vocabulary words in different contexts. So you're not just learning how to say in one sentence, you're learning this one word in multiple different contexts. It's really good for your comprehension. And then at the end of each chapter, it has проверка новых слов. Проверка новых слов, so new word practice. And then of course at the end it has every single vocabulary word that you have learned and the podcasts that go with it. I have had this book for a few years. I think I might be on the last chapter now, but I just reread it and reread it all the time because it has thousands of vocabulary words. I can't possibly memorize it all. Unless you're a genius, but I'm not a genius. I'm the type of person like, I'll try to log into my Google account and it'll say, okay, we sent you a passcode to your phone. It's like, okay, 6-digit number, okay, and then I immediately forget. It's like, what am I typing? I don't have that good of a memory, so what was I going to say about these? I think that's it. Yes, I've just been reading them forever, and I highly recommend them. You can find them on Amazon too, I believe. I'll try to put the links down for you guys on all of this stuff. I also have these other books that are just specifically in Russian. Here, this is by the same author. I got these from my friend Natasha. She was also in the orphanage with me in Petrozavodsk. And this doesn't have English translation or anything. It's much more high level. I have had these for quite a few years. I think they were a little too advanced for me when I got them, but I'm gonna try to read them again. So when you're reading in Russian, try to pick something that's not too easy, not too difficult, but, you know, challenge yourself. Books like this that are just in Russian, these are really good to help you just practice how to pronounce the letters of the Russian alphabet together, I think. Just pick a page once a day and just practice how to read the Russian language. So, okay, я читаю по-русски. I read in Russian. Next, what else do I do? Я пишу по-русски. Пишу, or пишу. I write in Russian. I don't really write that often because everything is electronic, but I definitely do try to type in Russian. And what I mean here is if I'm talking to my Russian family or my Russian friends, I have the Russian language on my phone, on my computers, whatever electronic device that you are using, and I really try to type the words out as much as I can. I love to use voice to text. It's really easy, but you need to learn how to spell the words too. So I try to type them, try not to use the autofill too often. And then there's a really easy way to do this. Let me see, here it is. If you want to put the Russian language on, say, your laptop, you can buy these little Russian well, I don't know, kind of looks like this. You can buy these little Russian letters. They're stickers, they're see-through stickers, and you can put them on your American keyboard, and it says exactly where they go, and then learn to type that way. You can actually see where the letters are. So I have these on every one of my devices because I need to type in Russian. Okay, I'll also post the link to those. I think it's a really neat little thing. And they're see-through, so you could see where the English letters are, and then you can see where the Russian ones are. All right, what else do I do? Я слушаю русскую музыку. Я слушаю русскую музыку. I listen to Russian music. Или подкасты, or like podcasts. So first, let's talk about podcasts. I actually really recommend Pimsleur. I have used Pimsleur a lot in the past. It was one of my first go-to resources for learning Russian. And drive half an hour to work, listen to a Pimsleur lesson, drive half an hour back every single day, listen to a Pimsleur lesson. It's really, really easy to just have them playing in the background. And I think that the way that Pimsleur teaches how to speak in Russian is a very, very, very effective method. In my opinion, it has really worked great for me. On Amazon, you can buy little booklets of CDs, and especially they're really good if you're going to travel to Russia to know like general terms and phrases. Okay, so those are for podcasts. Я слушаю русскую музыку. I listen to Russian music. You can find Russian music anywhere, just not my YouTube channel. I horribly failed at that, you guys. I tried to play some Russian music for you, and it's like, what can I use without getting flagged by YouTube for copyright? But there are very, very many resources for Russian music. For me personally, I like to listen to Russian radio, and I'll tell you why. Because Russian radio, you have the music, and it's always the newest kind of music, right? Then you have the hosts of the station, so you get to listen to the Russian speech and different people. You have visitors that come onto the station, so you can listen to not really different dialects, but you can listen to just different types of voices or the way that people speak Russian a little bit differently, because I find it sometimes it's really easy to understand one person speaking Russian, but then you listen to another person and you're thinking that they're not even speaking the same language. So it's good to listen to a variety of different kind of speech. Okay, and then what else on Russian radio? They have advertisements, and those are fine for me because it's related to today, common things that people are talking about today. And then of course like the weather and traffic, which is again stuff that you talk about today. So it's like all relevant type of information. My favorite Russian radio station, it's called Russkaya Radio. Russkaya Radio. You can find it on your Play Store on your phone, and it's actually spelled in Russian. Russkaya Radio, it means Russian radio. I like this Russian station specifically because it's all Russian. A lot of times you'll listen to a Russian station and they'll have a lot of English on there, and we're not trying to learn English. So, Russkaya Radio. I really like that one. Okay, what else do I do? Я смотрю русские фильмы. Я смотрю русские фильмы. I watch Russian movies. That's a very fun one. When you watch a movie, you can put visuals to words. It's a great way to learn a language. That's how I learned the English language, was by watching movies and cartoons. When you're watching a movie, I would really recommend that you don't pick something too simple, just like reading, but don't pick something too difficult either. It's good to watch a movie that you're already familiar with, a movie that you have seen a couple of times, so you know what they're saying in English. That way, when you hear it in Russian, you can translate it much quicker. Otherwise, if you watch a movie, you don't even know what they're talking about in English, it's going to be kind of hard to understand what they're referring to in Russian. So, for example, like when they talk about a magic carpet ride, I've watched Aladdin 500 times when I was a kid, so I pretty much have that movie memorized. As silly as it might sound, watch cartoons, because cartoons are already really established in our heads because we watch them a lot as kids, right? Or like the Trident from Little Mermaid. There are different kind of websites you can watch Russian movies on. I like to use VK. That's like the Russian, equivalent of Facebook, ВКонтакте, VK. And you can find groups on there that is nothing but Russian movies. You can watch it through your phone. Russian internet is different than American, so I don't think it works on a computer, but you can watch on your phone, maybe mirror it to your TV or something so it's bigger. And then there's another website, I honestly don't remember what it's called, but again, it's a website of just Russian movies. I will put the link down once I remember it. And then like YouTube, you can watch Russian movies on YouTube too. Or Netflix, Masha and the Bear. Masha and the Bear is a good one on Netflix. Okay, so я смотрю русские фильмы. And actually, on top of that, on YouTube, you can just watch other Russian YouTube channels. Of course, watch mine, but there are so many Russian channels on YouTube. That's like, besides me having my own channel right now, me talking to my Russian family and friends is something I do today. Another thing I do today to maintain is I watch YouTube videos. It's just so convenient, easy. I love it. And there's always something for everybody. You can find anything on YouTube. Okay, я смотрю русские фильмы. I watch Russian movies. And then, I think I'm on the last one. Я стараюсь часто разговаривать с русскими людьми. Я стараюсь часто разговаривать с русскими людьми. Я разговариваю с русскими. I speak with Russian people. I really try to often to speak with Russian-speaking people. And then the way that I do this is, well, I have my family and my friends who only speak Russian, of course. But if you don't have people like that in your life, there's other ways that you can find them. For example, if you're on Facebook, you can just search for a Russian-speaking Facebook group. I did that. There's a Russian-speaking Minnesota group, and go on there and it's nothing but Russian language. Or, Instagram or hashtag speak Russian or something. Whatever social media platform you use, you can find Russian-speaking people. There's also this app, I don't know if anybody knows it. Of course you do, you should. It's called Meetup, and it's just where people who have common interests will post will post like an event or something, and then if you're interested, you can meet up with those people. So there's Russian groups on there that you can find, and I'm not sure what else. You know me now. So just write me a message, Facebook me, Instagram me, hit me up on LinkedIn, whatever your preference is, and let's speak Russian. Okay, you guys, I think that's it. This is how the things that I have done in my life to study the Russian language. And like I said, right now I'm really this YouTube channel is keeping me accountable. I really try every single day to speak with my family and my friends. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I listen to Russian music. There really isn't an excuse to not learn this language in some form or another. There's something for everything. If you have a busy lifestyle, or depending on like your learning style, whether you're visual or you like to listen, or you're hands-on, or you need that face-to-face, or you're fine learning remote. If anything, when you're driving to work, when you're going on a walk, when you're making dinner, turn on Russian radio and listen that way. Put in some Pimsleur and just repeat lessons that way. There's always something that you can do. And please, if you would like me to elaborate more on any of this, just email me or write in the comments. I will be very happy to talk about this. I could talk about this all day, you guys. I'm trying to keep this short though. And let's learn the Russian language. Thank you very much for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Пока-пока!